Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. This one's going to be about Karmelo Anthony 35 years later. Will his mind survive being incarcerated for 35 years while the world keeps moving and he sits still in the cell with the four walls looking at him? This is the mental torture of being in prison that we're going to tap into today. 35 years looking at four walls. I survived 26 years. I have comrades, like I said, that survived 50 years incarceration. Now let's begin this program. Stay tuned. Hit the like button while it's moving. We out of here. All right? All right. So this is where we at right now, right? We talking about Karmelo Anthony. Will he survive 35 years in prison? If you don't know who he is, let me just play this so that you can get a little quick 50-second update.
Well, for the first time since his conviction, we are hearing from the parents of Karmelo Anthony. He is that Texas teenager who was sentenced this week to 35 years in prison for killing fellow high school athlete Austin Metcalf. Prosecutors argue Anthony intentionally killed Metcalf after being shoved by him and his teammates at a Dallas area school track meet. His lawyers plan to appeal, saying prosecutors wrongly excluded black people from the jury. CBS News spoke exclusively to Anthony's parents this morning.
Didn't intend to hurt anyone. My son was defending himself.
What do you say to his grieving family?
It's unfortunate to where nobody wins. We've all been hurt by this. Everybody.
Well, Metcalf's father called the sentencing bittersweet, saying he wouldn't wish it on anyone, but also says his son will never walk through his doors again.
And that's where we're going to end that, right? We're going to end that right there so that you can really understand what's going on. Now, Karmelo Anthony got 35 years, and everybody keeps talking about the sentence. Everybody keeps talking about the verdict. Everybody keeps talking about who was right, who was wrong, who deserved what, who should have got less time, who should have got more time. But today, I want to ask a darker question. Not will his body survive prison. Not will he learn how to move in prison. Not will he adjust to the food, to the count, to the bunk, to the guard, to the politics, or the loneliness of prison. I want to ask something deeper. 35 years later, will his mind survive? Because prison doesn't just hold your body. Prison freezes your world. The streets keep moving, technology keeps moving. Your family keeps aging, the babies become grown. The grown become old. The old start disappearing. You start hearing about auntie passed, granny passed, and one day you wake up and realize the world didn't wait for you. It keep going and going. And that's a different kind of punishment. That's the type of punishment we're going to talk about here today, so you understand. Right. Now, I want to put this up, right? So you can see how this young man is sitting in the cell. The jewel. A prison sentence doesn't just take your freedom. It puts your life on pause while the world keeps running away from you. Now, let me ask you all the controversial questions put in the comment, right? Do y'all think 35 years is just punishment for the crime? Or is it really a slow motion mental breakdown? Do y'all think 35 years is just prison time? Or is it really a slow motion mental breakdown? And that's what we're going to get into today. When I went in the world, looked different. I'm talking about when I went in 1993, I didn't come back out until 2020. So the world looked different. I did 26 years in federal prison. I know a lot of y'all is new, so I'm going to just give it to you quick and keep the story moving. Let me tell y'all something real, right? When I went to prison in 1993, the world looked nothing like it looked today when I walked out of prison in 2020. Cell phones were big. I'm talking about them big phones with the antennas on them. Remember them joints? Some of them had battery packs, like you were carrying a purse over your shoulder when I went to prison. That was technology back then. That was advanced. I remember when they just came out with the Motorola flip phone. I bought one right before I went to, I got locked up on that case. For $3,500 cash, I paid for a Motorola flip phone that looked like the joint from Star Trek with the little plastic antenna you pull out the top and the flip down keypad. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And a battery pack that snap on the back. You know what I mean? That just came out. I was paying $3,500 a month to use my roaming service, being that I was going from state to state and had a cell phone. Could you imagine paying a cell phone bill of $3,500 a month? You know, that was the future. And when I came home, everything was in the palm of my hand. Porn in the palm of my hand. They took porn out the prison. That's why I mentioned it. So imagine old prisoner out all them years can't look at a woman in a magazine and nothing, you know what I mean, unless she's fully dressed. And he get to see some tatas in the palm of his hand. He's in heaven. Yeah, that was me. You know, the phone even does your banking. Your money's on the phone. The phone became the camera. The phone even got a camera on it. I had to pay a cameraman to walk around with a big, what they call that, a big camcorder that he carried on his shoulder to film me when I walked around. And now you just hold the phone up and you're done. The phone became the newspaper from all the internet, the social media. The phone became television. The phone became the map. I get on my phone and I say, give me directions to Johnson Street over in Gutenberg, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut. And it finds it and tell me how long it'll take me to get there. You know, I'm thinking about going to Florida. I'm going to stay in this hotel called such and such in Florida. What's the distance from here to there? Yo, we had to get a big old map that we pulled out and get a pen, and you sweating and a pencil, you know, and you sitting there and you licking the number 2 pencil, you know, pause, and you sitting there and you writing on the map to know which way to go, and now you tell your palm of your hand, take me here. Come on, man. The phone became the job application. They phoned out job applications on phone. The phone became a dating world. People find love, their husband, their wives, on the phone with these dating apps. The phone became the school. The phone became the whole world when I came out. And I had to sit there and say, hold up. What happened while I was gone? That's what people don't understand. Prison doesn't just punish you for what happened. Prison removes you from what's happening. I got removed from technology, from the world. Not only my children and my family and my immediate loved ones. And when you come back home, you don't just come home. You come home late. You're tardy to the world. And the jewel in that is, the hardest part of coming home is not always the door opening. It's realizing the world updated without you. And let me ask you all the question. I got to ask you all the controversial question, make sure you're paying attention to this lesson. It's like you in school and I'm your professor, right? All right, so could most people survive being removed from society for 35 years, then come home and still function like nothing happened? And run a YouTube channel and enlighten the people. Oh, yo, make sure y'all hit the like button, hit the comments, and, you know, hit the hype in order to get this message out. If you like the message, you like what's going on, please hit the like button, give me a comment emoji or something, and make sure you give me the hype. Let's get this message out, because they don't want this to get out, because it's too real for YouTube. All right? Let's keep it moving. Now, the running joke becomes real. When I was locked up, there was a running joke, right? People used to say, by the time you got home, there are gonna be spaceships out there. They used to laugh. They used to say, by the time you get out, cars gonna be flying. They used to say stuff like, you know, they planted a tree right now, and by the time you come home, the tree is gonna be taller than the building. And sure enough, when I came home, there was trees all over Harlem. I'm like, what happened? 26 years later, there's full-grown trees on the streets that I walked on that had nothing. Man, at first, you laugh with them, right? Because you don't want to feel the pain. You don't want to admit the truth. You don't want to say, I might really be, or have been gone that long. But then the time starts moving. 1 year comes 5 years, then 10 becomes 20. And 20 becomes 25 years. And that's 25 years of putting in motion after motion after motion after motion, begging for my freedom. So this is what you young people want to go through with your life. My bed is open. The two best cells that I like in any penitentiary, the way they build them now, is cell 228 or 202. Those are what I call the penthouse. So if you decide to go to the federal penitentiary, make sure you try and get one of the penthouse cells, because you will be there for a while. But if you listen to me, you ain't got to worry about that. And when you come home, you see trees where there was no trees. You see buildings where there was empty lots. You see neighborhoods cleaned up, changed up, priced up, and pushed up. When they told me water was $1, I said, hold up, I used to get quarter water for a dime. And you telling me $1 for water that I could go get from the fire hydrant? And yeah, we did like that. We can't, like we didn't drink fire hydrant. We was out there getting wet, right? So just keeping it 100. I came home and looked at Harlem like, hold up, there are trees in Harlem. That might sound small to somebody who never did time. But to a man who lost decades, a tree can feel like evidence. Evidence that time kept going and growing while you were standing still. Let me take you on a ride, right? I ain't take you on a ride yet. Let me take you on a ride. Yo, when I got locked up in 93, I went from Lewisburg. I went from Lewisburg to ADX to Allenwood to Lum Park, right? To Coleman, Florida, Lee County, you know, Otisville, Raybrook, Atwater, and then back to Coleman, to all of these different penitentiaries. By about 2010, right? Maybe 2015. But after I done been to all these different penitentiaries, it's like everything was moving on the outside, and I didn't even know it. The time wasn't waiting for me. When I first saw a tree, right, and I got a chance to touch a tree, that was in 2015, and I got locked up in 1993, so call it 18 years before I touched the tree. That's the point I was getting at. I'm in the yard at Coleman, Florida. They had these beautiful trees that you can go sit under and feel the breeze blowing your face off the tree after 18 years of not being able to experience that. And that's what this young man, Karmelo Anthony, gonna have to go through. But when I felt that breeze blow on my face, I can't begin to tell you what it felt like to actually touch a leaf. 18 years I didn't touch a leaf, and we walk over them like it's nothing. But these are the little things that we treasured. I laid down on the grass and had the homies hold me down and just looked at the sky like I was a kid in the park again at the local pool with my brother who's dead. I was in heaven, in hell. Because I know how to make the best out of a bad situation. I don't want you to have to go through making the best out of a bad situation like that. It felt amazing to be under a tree after 18 years away from a tree, right? The jewel in that is when you lose decades, even a tree can remind you that life kept moving without your permission. And, I got to ask you a controversial question. Now, I need y'all to put in the comments so we get this algorithm going. Like I said, the content too real. We're going to keep it moving. All right? Now, what do you think hurts more after 35 years? The prison memories or seeing your old neighborhood become a place you don't even recognize? Put that in the comments. Karmelo's not just facing a cell. He's not just facing 4 walls. So when we talk about Karmelo Anthony, we cannot just talk about a cell. We cannot just talk about a sentence. We cannot just talk about the first day. We cannot just talk about the first weekend. Now we have to talk about the long road. 35 years is not a timeout. 35 years is not a little setback. 35 years is a generation. 35 years is babies becoming parents. 35 years is parents becoming grandparents. 35 years is friends moving on. 35 years is relationships dying slow. 35 years is music changing. 35 years is slamming, changing. The slang is changing. We used to say squallies, you know what I mean? And nowadays, now what they call them now, we call them squallies and hood rats. And what they call them now, thoughts. That hole over there. I came home to that hole over there. Could you believe this? That's how much the slang is changing, man. This is crazy, right? 35 years is laws changing. 35 years is jobs changing. 35 years is technology changing so fast. A man come home feeling like he landed on another planet. And he's waiting on the spaceship taxi cab to pull up. And the dark part is this. Inside prison, he has to survive the system. But if he ever comes home, he has to survive the future. And sometimes the future is colder than the cell. Because I know a lot of brothers that came out doing decades like me that stuck. And the jewel in that is prison teaches you how to survive inside. But it does not automatically teach you how to come home to a world that outran you. And the question to that is I want y'all to answer this, right? Is 35 years rehabilitation, or does that much time sometimes create a man society no longer knows how to receive back into society? Now, let's talk about how the mind starts playing games, right? You wanna know how the mind starts playing games? Now let's go darker, because this is the part people don't want to talk about. The mind starts playing games with you. At first, you count days, then you count months, then you count years. Then after a while, you stop counting the same way, because counting hurts. Counting starts thinking about what everybody's doing outside. Who still loves you? Who forgot you? Who's using your name? Who's telling your story wrong? Who's grown without you? Who died and nobody told you fast enough? Who had a baby? Who got married? Who moved away? Who stopped answering the phone? Who said they would be there, then disappeared after the first year? That's mental pressure. That's prison after the headlines die. That's the sentence behind the sentence. And if a man does not build his mind, that place would build something inside him that he may not like. And the jewel in that is, the cell is made of steel, but the real cage is what happens inside your head when everybody else keeps living. And I got another question for you, Ron. Do people underestimate the mental damage of long prison sentence because they only picture bars and uniform? Now, everybody outside becomes a reminder. When you're doing real time, everybody outside becomes a reminder. Your mother, her voice starts changing. Your father starts sounding tired. Your child stops sounding like children. Your friends start talking about things you don't understand. New apps, new money, new slang, new streets, new buildings, new rules, new dangers. And you're sitting there with the same prison ID, number 3458892. Same count time, same tray, same walls, same routine. That's why I tell the youth, don't let one moment make you miss the whole world. Don't let pride put you somewhere where technology becomes history before you touch it. Don't let anger put you somewhere where your little cousin becomes a grown man and you only know him through pictures. Don't let ego put you somewhere where your mother has the age in a visiting room. And don't let the streets convince you that prison is just something people do. No, prison is not a badge. Prison is not a trophy. Prison is not a video game. Prison is a place where time eats people alive. I've watched men getting eaten alive in prison. The streets will make prison sound normal. But there's nothing normal about watching the whole family age from behind the wall. I don't even know most of my nieces and nephew after 36 years in prison. I'm talking about I haven't even heard their names. I heard some, but I hadn't even heard some. That's how you're disconnected. Why do people on the internet talk about prison like it's entertainment until it touches their family? That's the question. Why do people on the internet talk about prison like it's entertainment until it touches their family or someone close to them? 35 years from now, right? What would the world look like? Now ask yourself this, right? We already talked about what it felt like for me, so we're gonna talk about 35 years from now. If the world changed this much from 1993 to now, what will the world look like 35 years from now? We already got artificial intelligence. We already got phones unlocking with faces. We already got cars driving themselves. We already got people making money without ever leaving the house. We already got kids learning from screens before they learn from elders. We already got cameras on every corner. We already got digital footprints following people forever. So what happens 35 years from now? What would money look like? What would jobs look like? What would school look like? What will dating look like? What would family even look like? What will the streets look like? What will prison look like? Prison is going to look the same, but the characters, many coming in, is going to change. But then you always have the old school ones that we stick to our code. And that might be our problem. We let the youngest do what they do because they wasn't listening out there. So they have to come to you for you to give it to them in here. You can't approach them in the prison. The youth have to come to you. They have to come to Juma. They have to come to Bible study. They have to come to the school. They have to come to the law library. What will freedom even feel like to a man who spent most of his life being told when to wake up, when to eat, when to move, when to speak, and when to be quiet?
That's the question. Not just will he survive prison, will his mind survive time travel? Because that's what long prison sentences feel like. You leave one world and you come home to another. Long prison time is like travel without a machine. You disappear from one era and return to a world that doesn't explain itself. And the question I got for y'all is, if somebody comes home after 35 years and can't understand the world, did prison prepare him or did prison just store him away? The dangerous part is becoming hard, right? Now, here's another dark truth. When a young man gets a sentence like that, he has a choice. He can grow, he can harden, and those are not the same thing. Growth means accountability. Growth means reflection. Growth means education and discipline. Growth means becoming honest about the moment that changed everything. But harden is different. Harden is when pain becomes personality. Harden is when regret turns to anger. Harden is when a man says, I don't care no more because caring hurts too much. Everybody left me behind. The world is changing without me. That's what Karmelo Anthony's gonna have to go through. Do you think he'll survive that? Put it in the comments. Would you like him to survive that, or do you feel that he should never come from that dark place? Because one day he will be released back into society. Harden when prison doesn't rehabilitate you, right? It just teaches you how to survive without feeling. And that's dangerous because the goal should never be come home colder. The goal should be come home wiser. But wisdom does not happen automatically. Time alone does not make a man better. Pain alone does not make a man better. Prison alone does not make a man better either. A man has to choose growth or purpose. And the jewel in that is, time does not change a man by itself. A man has to decide whether his pain will make him wise or make him worse. And another question for you, Putty. I want y'all to engage because this is like we in school. We all gonna grow together. That's what we're gonna do over here at Unique Mecca Audio. So that's why I keep asking these questions. I give you the jewels, then I give you the story, I give you the jewels, and then I give you the controversial questions to keep the conversation moving so that we can grow, get back in the algorithm. So you have to hit that like button, you have to put a comment, and then definitely hit the hype so we get this thing moving. All right, because we like to ride. Now, do long sentences really change people, or do they just give people more time to become what pain made them? See how deep the questions are? The system does not care if you are ready or not. Another thing people don't understand, the system does not care if you're ready. The system gives you the date. The system gives you the clothes, the system gives you the papers, the system opens the gate, and then the world hits you head on. What do I do? Nobody sits you down and says, let me teach you how this new society works. They just put you out in the world. But that's what I gotta say. Let me take a ride. I was blessed. I'm even gonna say his name, right? I was blessed. This is how I was blessed when I came home after 26 years. It was one of my little homies that I raised, right? Bobby Taft, Robert Taft, right? Everybody know him, Robert Taft. Good dude. When I came home, he's the one that sat me down and let me know the mental and physical, and technological changes that happened while I was gone. In the homies, in the world, with the women, with school. He let me know everybody's thinking for self. It's not like when you was out here and you looked out for everybody. Now when they get it, they hug it to their chest. They don't want to share it. They get mad if you come near it. Bobby Taft taught me that. So that's how I got prepared for the world. And he explained what was going on with certain things that he saw on social media. He'll send it to me and he'll break it down to me. And he said it like he was just sharing it with me back then, but I didn't know nothing about that. And I couldn't believe some of the stuff that I was seeing. You know, but nobody sits you down and says, let me teach you. But Robert Taft didn't meet Bobby Taft. Now, let me explain, you know, these apps, right? Nobody says, let me explain how people communicate now. Nobody says, let me explain how jobs look at your record. Nobody says, let me explain how people judge you before they hear your story. Nobody says, let me explain how fast life moves now. You have to learn about drowning. And if you don't have support, you can panic. You can isolate. You can feel embarrassed. You can feel angry. You can feel like a child in a grown man's body. That's why I tell these young people, don't play with this time. It's not worth it. Time is not just numbers. Time is language. Time is culture. Time is relationships. Time is technology that will pass you by. Time is everything you think will still be there until you lose it. The jewel in that is the system may open the gate one day, but it does not give back the years, the culture, the family moments, or the world you missed. And you know, I gotta ask you a question, so y'all gotta put it in the comments so we keep this thing going, so we get the message out. Everybody say, I like to get the message out. This way they should be in schools, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. Well, play your part. Like it, comment, question. Should society do more to prepare people for coming home after decades? Or do people believe the punishment should continue even after they're released? I know many that's still being punished after they release because they can't really get on. This is bigger than Karmelo. Now listen, this is not just about Karmelo Anthony. This is about every young person watching, male or female, young or old. Every young person who thinks one moment won't cost that much. Every young person who thinks, I'll deal with it later. And they still do what they know they weren't supposed to do, then they wind up getting caught up. Every young person who thinks prison is just a place where strong people go. Every young person who thinks family will always wait. Every young person who thinks the world will pause for them, yo, it won't. It's gonna pass you by like it passed me by. The world does not pause. The streets do not pause. The internet definitely does not pause. Technology does not pause. Your family age does not pause. Your child's childhood does not pause. Your mother's tears definitely don't pause. Your father's health does not pause. Your neighborhood does not pause. Your opportunities don't pause. Everything keeps moving. And that is why prison is realer than the streets. Because the streets lie to you in a moment. Prison tells you the truth every morning when you wake up in that cell sitting on the bunk like the young man behind me holding your head, wondering how did I get here? Prison tells you the truth every morning when you hear count time, chow time, lockdown, mail call, visits over, lights out, year after year, until the joke about spaceships doesn't feel funny anymore. Remember I told you about the spaceship joke? It don't seem funny no more after decades. The streets sell you the moment, but prison makes you pay with years you can never buy back. Now y'all gotta answer this question, man. Y'all gotta answer this one. Here you go, good one. What message do young people need to hear more? And young people watching this, what message do you need to hear more from me? Tell me so I can do my part. If you don't say nothing, no one can help you. If you say something, maybe someone can help you. And that would be the one that God sends and chose to bring along your path. And right now it seems to be unique Mecca audio. So put in the comments, what message do young people need to hear more? Fear the law, fear the streets, or fear losing time you can never replace? I know y'all say he been on here long enough. Man, I've been on here 35 minutes. Somebody told me break it down. I told him to call me. I was thinking about doing all that. But right now, I want to give you my closing. I know y'all want me out of here. Just let me ride. Just let me ride. All right. Now, I got to say this. Here go the closing. Will his mind survive? Will Karmelo Anthony's mind survive? So when I ask 35 years later, will his mind survive? I'm not asking that to be dramatic. I'm asking that because I know what time can do. I experienced it. I know what it feels like to leave one world and come home to another. I experienced it being gone from 1993 and coming back 2020. And now I'm doing YouTube. I know what it feels like when things that look normal to everybody else feel strange to me. You know, feel strange to you. Let me say it that way so you understand. I know what it feels like to see technology moving fast, people moving fast, life moving fast, and you're trying not to look lost. Yo, right, let me take you on a ride right here. I'll give you an example. This example fit a lot of things, right? Could you imagine you're trying to cross a busy 6-lane highway and you get in the middle of the highway and you stand there, there's no divider, just the yellow lines, and you stand on the yellow line and then a truck comes by, an 18-wheeler, and the wind rocks your world, you know? That's how I felt when I came home. But I felt worse than that. It felt like another truck was going the other direction and they both crossed me and I'm in the middle shaking. Oh, and that's how I had to adjust to the world. I had to say, pause, let me sit back and think. Take a deep breath. Where are you? Okay, I'm on the yellow line. Okay, let me get prepared in case a truck comes real quick. Let me plant my feet, see which way I'm gonna go. Okay, that's a small car. Okay, I can breathe a little bit. And I took my time and I took the little steps until I got comfortable on that yellow line. If you can understand the metaphor, I know that was genius. Matter of fact, Cash App is on the screen, man. Make sure you hit the icon and say it was created in 2020. Y'all getting too much jewels for nothing. You know what they say, the game is to be sold, not told. You know what I mean? This fly equipment I got where I could change up. Hold on, let me change up real quick, show you what I'm talking about. Right? I could change up and bring Karmelo in this, things like that from the donations that I've gotten. I'm taking it where it need to go to give you the best show. Now, I know what it feels like when technology moves fast. People moving fast, life moving fast, and you're trying not to look lost. I know what it feels like to laugh at a joke in prison, then come home and realize the joke was real. The spaceship didn't come, but the world still became something different. The trees grew, the buildings changed, the phones changed, the people changed. And the hardest part is realizing you changed too. So to the youth watching this, listen to me and listen to me well. You don't want to be like me. I don't want you nothing like me. I take accountability for what I did wrong. I paused in my community and I was punished. For 26 years in federal prison, Arnold Donald Trump gave the judges permission to go back and fix the sentences they did for people like me that had crack cases, that they felt they gave them too much time, that their hands was tied. And that's how I was released. Because while I was in prison, when I went, I couldn't read, write, went to college, got my GED, took 3,500 hours of psychological training. I became a certified electrician, cook, plumber, air conditioning, refrigeration. I do it all, man. Mechanic. When I got released, I was fixing Hummers. I know how to fix a tractor trailer. I know how to fix a Hummer. A poor little black boy out of Harlem that couldn't read or write. That's how I came out of prison, because I sent all of those certifications and my job sent in my work ethics and things like that. And the judge re-looked at it and said, man, you self-rehabilitated, you ready to go home. And here I am, on YouTube with y'all. You know what I mean? So that's where we at. Now, people change. And like I said, the hardest part is realizing you change too. So the youth watching this, listen, right? Don't gamble with your future, right? Hold up, get some music in here. I want some music, right? When I say, don't gamble with your future, right? Don't let one argument, one fight, one weapon, one emotional moment, one bad decision, or one second of pride turn your whole life into a countdown to your release 35 years later. Because the streets are real, but prison is realer. And 35 years later, the question won't just be, did you survive? The question will be, who are you now? And what world is left for you? The jewel of that, right? I'm gonna give my final jewel, right? Ain't my final, but I'm gonna say final. Surviving prison is one battle, but surviving what time does to your mind is a whole different war. Final controversial question, right? The final question, y'all put this in the comments. I said, we got to get this up, right? That's how the video gets out there, by y'all hitting the like button, putting the comments, and definitely hitting the hype, right? Now, after 35 years, can a man truly come home free, or does part of him stay trapped in the years he lost? Put that in the comment. Can a man truly come home free, or does part of him stay trapped in the years he lost? That's what I want to know. I've been on here long enough. I don't want to hold y'all up. Thank y'all for coming. Hit the like button, hit the comment. Oh yeah, cop the book of Rowan Harlem at rowanharlem.com, and I'm going to explain to you why I do what I do right now. Matter of fact, better yet, I'm going to show you why I do what I do. All right?
Hey, what's going on, man? Murder Move, Harlem, you know what it is, man. I just want to express how much gratitude I got for Unique, you know what I mean? I was telling him a story, telling him how I felt about, if anything was to go wrong with my career, rap-wise, if, should be slow, and I got so many opportunities to be able to do the wrong shit. When I watch Unique Mecca audio, I feel it, and to my soul, and that's keeping me farthest away from doing anything criminal. Anything criminal. He made me think straight, honestly. Made me think straight, because I've been watching him for about a year, a year now, maybe, and it just took my mind way off of that. From a year ago, it got rough. For a year ago,
Yeah.
and from watching this man, I just felt like, you saved me. You saved me. And I just want to show my gratitude, and I want to say thank you, man. Unique Mecca Audio, anything you need, brother, from me.
All right.
Anything you need, man.
All right.
Harlem.
All right. So now, before I go, I want to let you know that the music was done by Ron G. It's in the back. I'm going to start giving him his props. He's been with me for years, little brother. So Ron G, I'm going to put his flyer up if y'all want some beats. This is where you get the banging beats and the mixtapes.
Ron G, see I look out for you, but this how you look out for family, man. You know, and I ain't even charge him nothing. You know what I mean? Let's go.
Cheers, cheers, toast the crime, toast the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime.
Fresh out the can of 26, yeah. Heat back on the strip, getting back in the mix. Yeah. What he mentions a gift. Right. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Real. Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. The Instagram page and the YouTube, you could go and visit. Yeah. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Real. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops, Mecca audio. Get it live like 2 G's in the 90s. Drop top beamer so shiny. I let shorty go, she was whining. Treat her like my past, she behind me. Spend a couple bands on the Dapper Dan. You be back again, getting green like a Packers fan. No cap, it's a roaring uptown. They be whoring uptown, Dominican bust downs. Now we on the positive, we got a lot to give. Now he trying to stop the kids from being inoperative. So take heed, homie, lend a ear. He started in uptown, he gon' finish dead. But now it ain't about selling drugs, buying cars. It's about buying property to make the community ours, so we can give back to the